World Cup 2014, where do you want me to start?
We've got 5 games, whatever happens, and that's where we've got to deliver.
Merchant, what opportunity! She's dancing down that touchline.
At the end of the day, we want to be world champions by the end of this, and we have to beat whoever's in front of us on the day, and that's what we're going to do.
Oh, she's driving away, all the way to the line, Marley Backer.
Everybody wants to play in a World Cup final as a kid. This is what we train for, and this is what we do.
Emily Scarrett is going to go all the way.
Yeah, the feeling camp's brilliant. We've had a pretty tough, probably 6 months during Six Nations and obviously that major competition for us, and then obviously the kind of amount of training we've been doing since then, the opportunity to be together and be in camp, and it's been fantastic. So the girls are in a really good place, and I think really looking forward to getting started in this World Cup. The build-up to 2014 was possibly the most intense period of training I think I'd ever done to date. I think Stu Pickering came in as our S&C with the task about getting everybody fitter, but in a real controlled window. It was a much shorter time frame. He was new into the programme. I think the benefit of us going through that together and kind of having the real hard moments, I suppose the concept is, isn't it? It makes match day easier, and certainly for us it did. We lived it all together in the build-up. We'd been through these real low moments where everybody was in an absolute hole. You couldn't have done any more physically. You know that you can trust, you can look left or right, and everybody's been there together. You've seen them, and it almost kind of increases what you want to do, because you don't want to let anybody down. You don't want to be that weak link. And I think because we'd lived and breathed that together, everybody was aligned in that view. You look at where the girls are now, and we're in such better shape than probably post Six Nations, and exactly where we want to be physically, building for a World Cup in August. We're just now in that fine-tuning stage about making sure we're getting all our patterns and our plays and everything we want to use and where we're going to use it. So I think for us as England, we're in a really good place. It's been a fantastic opportunity, this build-up leading into World Cup, and can't wait to get there. In team dynamics, generally people have groups that they are more comfortable with. I think what made 2014 really unique, or especially from my perspective, it didn't really matter who you were sat with or who you were hanging out with. The group kind of seamlessly just got on.
You having a lovely time?
And I think that was huge for us. It was a lot of the work that had gone prior to that, but also just, I think because we'd been through so much, we were still very much amateur days, people were still working. There was a massive amount of respect in that group for what people were doing and putting themselves through to be able to be at their best for the World Cup. But I think there was a massive family feel. It was a really, really easy group to be part of. Going into the World Cup, there was one goal of winning 2014. Everybody was very clear of that. It was spoken about, wasn't something that we shied away from. But it was also very much, we have to go game by game. And it's a real cliche, isn't it, when you hear interviews that players say, we're just focusing on the next game. But really, as players, that is your job. You have staff and coaches to look at bigger picture stuff. So I think as a group, we were confident, we'd done so much work. We'd worked really hard. We'd had so much time together. They'd taken our own gym out. We had our own training facility. So there'd been kind of no stone unturned. So I think in terms of preparation and mindset, we were in a really, really confident place that we couldn't have done any more as we arrived in France to kick off the World Cup.
Come on. Okay, go nuts in 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Thank you.
You just done selection?
Yeah, just gonna. It goes up at a set time in the room, and then goes on WhatsApp at the exact same time. So some players would like to be what people would be there watching, see it. If not, Monday technology, sit in their rooms and go.
But it gets, I just probably preempted one of you, so I'll let him.
Alrighty, good to go?
Yeah.
Gary being around from 2010, that shared experience is huge. We'd all quite a few of that group had lost a World Cup, and we'd been through the pain of that, the kind of reviews and everything that come for it, and kind of did full circle to say, look, we've got an opportunity to put that right. And I think sometimes the hurt can drive you on, but also the opportunity and having somebody like Gary who was so positive around it really helped, I suppose, flip the feel of that as well.
Okay, this is it, last play.
Gary never strayed from his philosophy, which is around that free play, express yourself, make good decisions, people handling on the ball. And I think it's pretty amazing when you think the pressure he would have been on as a coach at that time as well, that I never felt that. He did a really good job of shielding us all from, I suppose, how he was feeling and the pressure he was on, and just allowed us to go and focus on our goal, which was to go and win that World Cup.
We think that's one of our points of difference, that that players have been to World Cups before. There's quite a few on that side that have been to 3 World Cups now, and I think that's going to really help as we go into the opening game, knowing what it feels like to play in a World Cup, knowing the expectation, the pressure, but also the enjoyment. You know, this is what, you know, you get every 4 years you get a chance to come to one of these things, and we've said to the players, you know, we've got to come and enjoy the experience and make sure that it's something you want to go and play in and not something to fear.
We knew what to expect from Samoa. We knew they were going to be a big physical side, girls that wanted to play, and that's exactly what we got.
Got 2 in support, one of them is Alfonsi, the other is McLean. McLean will draw the last defender, and Kath Merchant. Tasha Hunt, you can see her pace. Former winger, we've already said, in England, not just 4 tries before the break, but 5. And it's Marley Packer looking to add to England's scoreboard. Maggie Alfonsi, brilliant hand to mouth, she'll look inside and she will find Emily Scarrett.
I think we're not looking to be perfect at this stage of the competition. It's a journey, like we get better game by game. We know we have to be better, and that's all right, we can go away, we can deal with that. We don't want to be perfect on day one.
In the Spain game, we knew that Spain would pose a threat, but we also knew that we had the firepower to be able to get past them.
Kerry Large just clips it through, and it's Kay Wilson after it. Just needs to fall on it. Mason. Have a second little nibble. Waterman. Danielle Waterman. That is what she can do. It's the final score. 45 points to 5.
Over the moon, to be honest. Like, we said that we wanted to go out there and raise our performance over from Samoa last week, and I think we did that. We've raised the bar as England and as a squad. That's massive going forward into Canada.
Every game's been a block of 4 days, 4 days to the next team, and that's all we've done. Obviously there's been huge speculation in the media about what happens, and the Irish result against New Zealand especially. Myself, the coaches, the players, the rest of the staff, we've got Canada as our goal. Our World Cup will be about Canada this weekend, and we'll have a look after that.
So it was great to get 2 wins under our belt. It massively helped build confidence, but we knew heading into Game 3 against Canada that was going to be the big one and the one that we needed to get a good result in.
It is England against Canada, a place in the semi-final at stake. Emily Scarrett then for first points. Great nudge, Scouts! Great nudge, Scouts! Fine kick. Canada going for the first try here. It's over the line. And it's a try to Canada. Look at what it means to them. Large again, Merchant. Oh, it goes into her hands this time. Kat Merchant. She's knocked it off. And it's Scarrett. Take England into the lead at half-time.
So the Canada game was back and forth. Sometimes it was going our way, sometimes it was going their way, but it was definitely a game where you weren't exactly sure where it was going to finish.
Tries there! Joe McGilchrist on that England second row as well. Rebecca Essex. First time that England have got serious dominance at scrum time. And Hunter is driving over and scores. Didn't strike it cleanly, but it doesn't matter because we are all square here. And the final score here, in a breathtaking, brilliant game, is England 13, Canada 13.
this is what this World Cup's been about. It's been about fantastic performances from all teams, and it's not just about one or two teams. And you look at some of the results, and the fact that New Zealand aren't involved in a semi it's massive, and it's a testament to where women's rugby is right now.
People thought that we'd thrown a game against Canada because the only way that New Zealand could go out if they got beat was around this draw, which is hilarious because it's pretty hard to draw in rugby. And if anybody'd watched that last 20 minutes against Canada in that final group game, we were under the pump. Like, Canada were going really, really well. It just really showed how much women's rugby had come on as well. Not just about where England rugby were, but how good that Ireland side was at the time. You know, they'd won the Grand Slam in 2013. We knew they were a team that wasn't going to be messed with. The confidence that gave them, and then we obviously got them in the semi. I always assumed we would have to go and beat New Zealand to win it. So when New Zealand went out, it just really changed, I suppose, the plan, and it almost kind of, for us, we had to refocus because I think the build, like we say, was around New Zealand. That is the beauty of knockout rugby, isn't it, in World Cups, that you have this lovely plan that you think will go to, and basically you rip it up and you just have to play what's in front of you. And that semi-final for us was a huge, huge game that we had to get right, because also we didn't want to follow New Zealand on the next plane home as well.
I did predict sort of 7 possible winners before we came here. I think people were didn't really believe what I was saying, but it's turned out to be absolutely true. Obviously we want to win, but there's 4 cracking sides in the semis, and it'll be down to the players now. In your life, you want to be best in the world, I think. I think you should be aspiring to that, and we've got a chance with 2 games to be the best side in the world. So if you can't look forward to that, you shouldn't be in the job.
This is set to be an epic encounter. It is Ireland against England in the first semi-final of the 2014 Women's Rugby World Cup.
As a rugby player, and especially at the top end of the game, you're always aspiring for the perfect game, always close to the perfect game. For me, Ireland was that game. Out the whole of my 13 years international career, there's never been a better game than Ireland in the semi. Ireland scored in the opening 3 minutes, and I think after that we were literally impeccable.
And it is a try for Ireland. Burford just had to stop on the pass momentarily. Merchant. Cap Merchant is in for England. To have the distance, and she has the direction as well. Fine strike. Matthews. Katie McLean. It's Wilson. Packer. Marley Packer powering our way to the line. That's it, surely now. Large into that midfield, and there's so many options. And Burford goes to the chip ahead. Who's going to be the first to dive on it? It's Marley Packer. England book their place in the final. The performance, accuracy, and precision, the tactics were spot on.
I'm so proud of all the girls today. You know, the biggest thing about rugby is if you're playing on the front foot, and today our forwards delivered that, our backs delivered that, all 22 that have been involved delivered decent ball, and it just allowed us to play.
The opportunity for one more game. We wish you all the best and hope it goes well for you.
Thank you very much.
It was just a game where everything starts to fall into place. So I think that was huge for us because it massively gave us that confidence going into the final.
Yeah, okay.
It still doesn't seem real. I woke up this morning and for 10 seconds was like, actually, we're in a final, and that, you know, that was our aim coming into this. There's a lot of pressure for us to get to that point, and thinking about 2010, there was a massive relief to get to a final. Now there's just such an excitement, such a buzz around the squads that we want to get there and we want to play. We've got to deal with the fact that we're in a final. That's the first job that we've got. We've got to recover well, and then we've got to make sure that we turn up and perform. I think, like we've discussed previously, we didn't in that final group game. Last night we did, but we're going to be faced with a very, very different test on Sunday, and it's about getting all our processes right, getting our execution right. We've talked about not being a passenger, and that's a big thing within this squad. It's about making sure you're input and making sure you're doing something, and again, that's going to be massively crucial on Sunday night.
I did so many interviews as England captain at that point about always being bridesmaids and never brides, and having to get used to that tagline that kind of followed us around. But I think as a squad, we were really, really confident that we were in control to make this World Cup different. You've had girls who had lost 2 World Cups, so they played in 2006 in Canada. Some of us had played in 2010 in London, and then you had girls like Alex Matthews, Marley Packer that were in their first World Cup. Probably one of the bigger things that we did was around really getting to know each other. So what made each other tick, how their personalities operated, kind of what was really important to them, and almost what their why was. And I think all those bits of just being able to have those conversations, whereas I think in 2010 and maybe in 2006, people, as the pressure started to build, started to kind of go a little bit inside themselves. And I think having that greater understanding, that really deep understanding of each other, made a massive difference when the pressure comes on. Because actually it's really easy in day to day where you're just training, you're going through the motions. But when somebody's being squeezed or you're being squeezed, for people to really understand what it is you need for them in a big team collective when there's a lot of you, is the kind of small details that I think took us from being a good side to being a great side.
For us as a team, a lot of players, a dream come true. Like some of the girls, it's their 3rd World Cup, some of it's their 2nd, and for likes of me, it's my 1st. And I remember saying, as I was watching in 2010, next World Cup I'm going to be in it and we're going to win it, to my mum. And it's a bit surreal now that actually it's the night before, the day before, and I could possibly do that. So yeah, we're in the best possible place we could be in.
To be honest, one of the most special things I think is in the changing room just before we go out to our battle of 80 minutes. I think it's because you know all of the hard work that's gone in for every single player. You can see it in their eyes that we've come together, we all put our shirts on. Yeah, I think it's that's pretty special. And then standing in the tunnel or on the steps as it is at Marcoussis, ready to go out and seeing the St George's flag has been quite special.
You know, everybody wants to play in a World Cup final as a kid. You know, you imagine in the back garden running around, and you know, it shouldn't be a threat, shouldn't be something we worry about. Something we should go, this is what we train for, and this is what we do. So that'd be the main message.
This is a World Cup that has propelled the women's game into a different rugby stratosphere. A chance to be part of rugby history. Will it be England or Canada? This is the 2014 Women's Rugby World Cup final. Emily Scarrett, 78% kick success in this World Cup. No trouble at all. First points of this World Cup final for England. Karen Puckwer, Fleetwood, Hunter. Now there's space. Lovely dummy from Taylor. It's Alfonsi. It's Waterman. It's Danielle Waterman. There's the first try, and it's for England. Positioned that ball on the kicking tee. Couple of steps back. And it's a good throw from Magali Harvey. Ambition from both sides in that first half, but it is England who have control, and they lead 11 points to 3 here at the Stade Jean Bouin. 55 points so far in this World Cup. Can she make it 58? She can. Snuck over. Canada strike first in this second half. Harvey giving it a huge whack, and it's over.
We had a moment where I think we go 11-9. We had a really tight leadership group, so an on-pitch group that managed like how we played. I remember that group coming in and just being like, right, we need to settle, and just being really clear about the objectives, like how we were managing the rugby. We needed to score next.
That's the 22-metre line. Hunt, McLean, here's Scarrett on a much flatter ball. Emily Scarrett! Emily Scarrett is going to go all the way! Canada do their best to chase it down, but it's a 7-pointer for Emily Scarrett. It's a 7-pointer for England. The performance didn't matter today. The victory did, and there it is. England are world champions. "20 years of pain is over for England." They had fallen at the final hurdle in the last 3 World Cups. Not this time. They would not be denied. They refused to be denied. And they have beaten Canada here, 21 points to 9.
You know, all testament to Canada were fantastic today, but that group of girls, that group of staff, they deserve everything that we've got today. We've worked so hard for this. We've had such a rough ride. There's so many great legends that have gone before us that haven't won in an England shirt, and that's for all of them that are here today. This is all about the England rugby family, and it's amazing.
The immediate feeling was one of like absolute relief. I think, like I say, I had done so many interviews about bridesmaids, never brides. There was a lot of old girls who had been lost multiple World Cups, who'd lived through this cycle of English rugby, you know. For me, my view was that this wasn't just about that playing squad. It was about everybody. It was about all those people that had played and made such hard choices prior to this and never had the opportunity to win a World Cup. That win was just as much for them, and they played their part as we did as that group that was lucky enough to take the field, to be part of the history and to be able to represent those people is something that I'm extremely proud of and extremely grateful that I got to do that. You obviously line up when you go to get your medals, and I was at the back, and just to be able to stand at the back and observe that and watch that, because there have been so many individual stories, you know, so many sacrifices, so many choices that group had made, and that we'd finally done it was, honestly, words don't do it justice.
England are the world champions of 2014.
Yeah, I mean, Take That definitely featured in the changing room. It was amazing, you know. I think once the relief kind of started to subside and you realise what we've done, just the opportunity to have a bit of time together, to have a couple of beers, to enjoy it, to take pictures, to just kind of decompress a little bit, it's everything that you would hope to, like a final moment, in the moment would be.
Someone's just said to me, Danielle Wiltman, world champion, and I welled up, and I don't know. I don't think I can get bored of hearing it though. We've been working so hard. It's been such a journey, and yeah, it's been over the last 12 years, but actually this last 6 months, the support we've had from behind the scenes, our coaches, our medical staff, our psychology, our nutrition, everything, strength and conditioning, has just been to the point, and as a player I can't thank them enough for that, and you know, to be able to celebrate with them and with 26 of my best friends is special.
Nobody will ever understand the choices people made around that World Cup, managing day jobs and elite sport, because ultimately you're pretty much doing two. People were going to work, or Clay Allen was doing a night shift and then getting up and training. Sophie was being called out to a field to deliver a calf and then having to train, and the sacrifices that those girls made at that point to then be able to go and perform in the way they did in a World Cup final, I think is amazing. But I think for me that's a massive source of pride that I got to lead that group of absolutely amazing, resilient women to go and achieve the greatest prize in our sport.
When I started the job, really, I made a statement that I didn't just want to win games. I want to make sure that when the public watched the game, if we're fortunate to get a game on TV, which at the time then seemed pretty slim, that it was something that people would want to watch and not say what a great game, and in brackets for women, that it was just a great game of rugby. This World Cup has done that undoubtedly through all the sides, not just our own games, and that's really pleasing for me. And I think to be a women's elite rugby players, they're amazing athletes, amazing people, and I'm just really pleased for the sport. I think we just want to make sure that what we've done so far, that we don't lose that now and the game kicks on, and not just in England but globally. You know, it's an amazing sport, and we need to make sure we grab that and carry on.